Okay, this is going to be the 7th New Jersey Volunteers under Colonel Louis Raymond Francine, Part 1 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And today we're going to talk about this brave New Jersey regiment that has a very cool monument out here on the Gettysburg Battlefield. Now, for about 20 days, the 7th New Jersey were marching toward Gettysburg. On July 2nd, 1863, they were a part of Colonel George Burling's New Jersey Brigade. And the two largest regiments in Burling's brigade was the 7th New Jersey and the 2nd New Hampshire. They were ordered to support Brigadier General Charles Graham's 1st Brigade as per orders that were received by Colonel Burling on July 2nd around 5 p.m. Now, Francine and the 7th New Jersey marched up the Millerstown Road, which is there in front of us in the distance, and they marched into this direction, crossing these fields right here, and they reported to General Graham. Now, he deployed them to support, and their job was to support Battery B of the 1st New Jersey Light Artillery, which was over and back in the distance this way on what we call Warfield Ridge. And they were trading, firing shells back and forth with Confederate batteries that were on the actual ridge itself. Now, Francine placed his men in support behind other New Jersey troops, and with no cover for his men, he ordered his men to lie down right here in the Trossel farm lane. Okay, as his men hugged the ground right here, the shelling intensified and the casualties began to mount right here near the Abraham Trossel farm. It was described as a mass of flying missiles that produced a lot of casualties in their ranks. At this time, Francine, seeing that his men were laying down and getting shelled, he had enough, and he ordered his men to seek shelter near the Trossel barn. Okay? He replied, "I was only trying to get a better position for my men, who I'm losing fast." Now, Confederates under Brigadier General Joseph P. Kershaw was bearing down on this position, while Francine and his men desperately tried to protect the New Jersey battery. To make matters even worse, another Confederate brigade in the distance over there by the Sherfy farm, under the command of Brigadier General Williams Barkdale, was about to slam into Union troops along the Emmitsburg Road. Now, with two Confederate brigades attacking from two different directions, Francine and his men were forced into a delaying action as batteries began to retreat back here toward the Trossel farm lane. They had begun to advance. They're getting hit from Kershaw. Now they're getting hit on the right from Barksdale. And though they were asked to support the battery, they were held in this position for some time, while other batteries that were around in this area began to retreat here at the Trossel farm lane. We're going to pick this up in part 2, where we're going to talk about the advance and charge of the New Jersey troops here to their final destination, where their monument sits just about 400 yards directly in front of us here. But this has been the 7th New Jersey under the command of Colonel Louis Raymond Francine, Part 1 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Hey, I am standing here at the monument to the 7th New Jersey, and just over here in the distance is Clark's Battery B, 1st New Jersey Light Artillery. And this is going to be the 7th New Jersey under Colonel Francine, Louis Raymond Francine, Part 2 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Now, the retreat of those batteries caused a gap, which Colonel Francine felt needed to be filled to protect his troops that were on the right. who were at a risk of being flanked. So at this point, Francine orders his men to fix bayonets and go forward at the double quick and charge. Now, as he led this ill-fated charge across this field to about this point here, he received a serious wound. Now, the wound at the time didn't seem to be fatal. At the same time that he was injured in that charge, his adjutant, Charles Docherty, was also wounded in the shoulder and in the breast. Now, half of the regiment's officers were either killed as wounded as they advanced across these fields here at the double quick in what some of them called, and I'm going to quote here from a letter, into the hell and heat and sweat of death among the fruit trees. Now, Francine was wounded, and he was transported from Gettysburg to Philadelphia to St. Joseph's Hospital. Where there his condition began to deteriorate more and more. And finally he succumbed to his injury, and he died on the morning of July 16th, 1863. His death was relayed in a newspaper, and the whole community was in shock. Of course, on July 18th, his funeral began in Camden, where he was from, at 517 Cooper Street. His body was taken across the Delaware River by ferry for a religious service, and he was buried at Laurel Hill. That's historic Laurel Hill Cemetery in Philadelphia, where he is today buried in Section Y, Lot 144. Now, he was engaged to be married at the time of his death, and his fiancée grieved the loss very deeply, as did his father, who never got over the loss of his son and died about 1886. He's buried today in Laurel Hill next to his son. Now, protecting this battery over here, Colonel Francine was wounded, and today this monument sits here to the 7th New Jersey. It was dedicated on the 25th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. And what most people don't know about this monument, when they drive up the road here, they see the monument, and often it's just looked at because of its uniqueness. It's a mini ball. But what people don't realize about this monument is it marks the further spot of advance of the 7th New Jersey, but it also marks the spot where Colonel Francine fell. And if you go here on the corner of the monument, you'll see it says, "Here fell Colonel Francine." This has been the 7th New Jersey under the command of Colonel Francine, Part 2 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.